We can't go without a proper procedure. Having said that, because when we are dealing with clients, we are dealing not just with clients, we are dealing with multiple parties. We have to follow a procedure. We can probably mold it a bit according to the need, but not much.
Honestly, like I told you, when you're coming from a secondary market background as well, like you have dealt in secondary market also because it caters to a specific kind of market.
In US and Canada, products are very different from Dubai.
Actually, it depends on the product that they have. And this is a very good question actually that you've asked.
Hello all, welcome to one more deal with Lending Tree, and today we have Pravin from Fam Properties with us.
Hi Pragya, thank you so much for inviting me on this podcast. And it's actually a pleasure to be on this podcast with you guys. As we all know, you guys are the top 10 brokers in UAE. So completely my pleasure.
So Pravin, we'll talk a bit about your journey into real estate. Please tell us how it started.
Well, I've been in this industry for almost like 20 years now, 19 to be precise. And it actually started with, internship program with my college. And before you knew it, I was like 3 years already into the field. And it's been quite a roller coaster ride, actually. It's pretty good. I mean, 19 years in the business is not a short time.
So you have seen Dubai grow.
Yes, I have actually, yes. I've actually been in the industry when there were no portals. And I've seen the property listings on the paper only.
What has been your favorite part about real estate?
I think real estate, if you look at it as a product, it's quite challenging because daily you have new products coming into the market, and like 17 years down the line, everything else was different. Like you had different regulations, you had different infrastructure, you had different properties that people could choose from. So everything has evolved over time.
Yes, it's Dubai from rags to riches,
Yes,
right?
right. So I think one of the questions that I have, like with a mortgage broker, probably, is there are different nationalities that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, right? I think one of the most common asked questions by us brokers would be which are the nationalities which are more open to the idea of taking a mortgage very early when they start moving here.
In my experience, I would say US and Canada are very open in taking mortgage.
Okay.
Because they know how to grow their funds. And with mortgage is a product which is profitable for everyone, for agent, for banks, for people who are taking mortgage. So it's a product which is actually great for everyone, and you can grow your portfolio with mortgage.
Correct.
So these people have already done it, though in US and Canada, products are very different from Dubai, but still.
Correct. I mean, that answers most of my questions actually, because some people are open to it and some people have this mental block that they need to cross, before taking the mortgage, their first property at least.
Yes,
The other
definitely.
question I would like to ask is probably in your field, since we all are very client centric, it's better to be client centric, of course, and because we are client facing as well. Do you guys follow like a proper step process, or it's just reacting on how the client is basically?
We can't go without a proper procedure.
Correct.
Having said that, because when we are dealing with clients, we are dealing not just with clients, we are dealing with multiple parties, brokers, sellers, clients, and banks. So we have to follow a procedure. We can probably mold it a bit according to the need, but not much.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, flexibility needs to be there since we are
Yes.
client centric, but yeah.
Yes, so it's the bank which is giving us the guidelines, and we are following it, and we are making it easy for the other parties, which is seller, buyer, and the agent. So what do you think about the market in next 5 years, and how do you see it in 5 years from right now? What's the difference?
See, I think what you're asking is how it was 5 years back and what you see is going to happen 5 years ahead from this point in time.
I'm asking about how is it going to be different from now
Now,
and then
5 years ahead.
5 years ahead.
So basically, what we are seeing right now, the government has a 2040 master plan, right? And they have a plan for the city. Most of the developers are following this plan as well. And you have infrastructure basically that starts giving way to these projects as well. So you will see a lot of developers now that are launching villas in a different category. You have a lot of independent villas that are coming up as well. This gives an insight to the brokers as well as like what is going to come up. Like what they're making now, real estate is a product which needs 3 to 4 years to develop, right? I mean, it can't be quick. So basically, these guys are the ones who are setting the tone for the upcoming 5 years, and basically the developers follow this. Yeah. So they understand that this is the kind of product that will be needed 5 years down the line. So let's start making it today. Yeah, I mean, it's not like, sorry to say, like a mortgage, like, the guy is like 2 months away from getting a mortgage, right? But in real estate, it's not the case. Like, if
Yeah,
anybody
yeah.
needs a 5 bed villa in a particular location with certain specifics and has some demands with the community, he has to wait 3 to 4 years for that product to develop. And that same is reflected in the payment plan as well. Like, you have some payment plans which are 18 months, 20 months. So real estate is very complex that way. It follows the infrastructure that the government has laid for them.
It is complex and it
Yes.
is rewarding.
Yes, correct. It's
Yes, both.
complex, it's rewarding. You have different aspects to real estate as well. You have primary, you have secondary. Like, there are so many agents who only concentrate on primary, but it depends on your game plan as well. I consider myself to be like a humble student of the industry as well. I mean, the knowledge that you gain is actually from interactions that you have with people. I prefer doing secondary and primary both because that's how I have evolved over the years. Most of my leads are genuine leads from the secondary market that I've already shaken hands with. So it's easy for me to communicate and it reflects on my deal sheet as well. On my deal sheet, if I have a sale deal, it's happening both sides. I have my own clients. I mean, I'm not working with an outside agent. Not that you shouldn't, but most of my deals are just between my portfolio.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. I've
that
seen
helps. Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I've seen that. That's a very nice thing. And I think you are into growing your client's portfolio also. So, how
Correct.
has a mortgage really helped you with it?
Honestly, like I told you, when you're coming from a secondary market background as well, like you have dealt in secondary market also because it caters to a specific kind of market. If I have somebody who's looking for a particular location and a particular configuration that he needs in his property, it's not necessary that he will always find it in the primary market. So that's the time you have to enter the secondary market. Otherwise, you lose the customer, right? And when you're talking about secondary market, you have like price brackets. You
Yes.
have like 5 million above, 5 million below. We see most of the activity happening in mortgages, and the requests that I get are mostly in this 3 to 5 million ratio. Unless you're a first buyer, of course, then 1 to 2 million is also an option, right? But mostly I see a lot of activity happening in the 3 to 5 million price range where people actually approach us and ask us during handover, before handover, like, you need some mortgage assistance.
Yes.
This is a hot topic as well.
What would you suggest to someone who is looking to grow their portfolio?
See, if you already have an investment background, uh, you normally with these clients you don't need to educate them on the process. It's more like you're an advisor to them as what products you feel are going to be missing out in the market in the future. It's basically mix and matching your knowledge base with theirs and seeing where it matches their outcome as well.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody is already in this field who's investing on a regular basis, you don't need to actually guide him on what to do. You probably just need to bring the right product into his light. So from our point of view, if I'm only discussing the product with the client, it's more likely that he's serious.
But there are a lot of people who are coming from other countries and looking to grow their portfolio in Dubai. So, what would be your suggestion for these kind of clients who are looking to grow their portfolio from the very beginning?
See, growing your portfolio is also a 5 year game, I would say.
Okay.
Right? There are no shortcuts, and thorough study is actually required. When you're entering into the market, especially from an outsider's perspective, I believe that you need to sell Dubai first, right?
Hmm.
You need to sell Dubai first, and that's very easy, to be very honest.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't sell Dubai,
Yeah.
it's very difficult for you to, like, match yourself on the field as well. So selling Dubai is one of the first things that I would start with, and then, like I said, it automatically sells. Then you discuss with them the prospects of community living, whether they're more into beachfront, they're more into community living. It depends on their experiences as well. It's easier to sell beachfront to somebody who's already invested in beachfront somewhere else. They believe in the market. They have their experiences also. So I probably dive into what they have done in the past to find out who they are and who are they more comfortable dealing with in the future. It's easier said than done, but selling different communities to outside clients is our forte as well. Like we understand the product, we actually study it very thoroughly,
Yes.
and then we compare it to comparables and their prices. So we are mostly number based. Like we like to put the numbers on the table for the client to understand.
What is your favorite place to invest in Dubai? What would you say is the favorite place to?
That's a tough one actually. See, honestly, I believe any product that targets the end user is always going to be a hit, right? Because the population here itself that is moving here to stay is growing. So any product that you invest in, I won't take names because there are so many different pockets, and Dubai is very diverse now in terms of real estate products that it offers. पहले ऐसा नहीं था. It wasn't like that. Like, there were very limited pockets that you could invest in and very limited choices to what kind of lifestyle that you want. Right now, if you're talking to somebody who wants to live by the beach, you have 3 or 4 beach fronts now. Depends on his budget. You have 240 million apartments, and then you have 240 million villas as well. So it completely depends on the client, what he's looking for. There is a lot of matrix going on.
Yeah, you
I
will
mean, if
find
you ask
audience
me,
for
then there are
everything.
so many questions that come to mind. Like, is the mortgage available? When anybody asks me this question, I look at it from the client's perspective as
Yeah.
well. I tend to shift into that focus. Like, what does the client need? Does he need a mortgage? Is his balance sheet cash
Yeah.
flow friendly? Then I can offer him so many different products that are available.
So do you really suggest your clients to go with mortgage even though they have cash in their pocket?
Actually, it depends on the product that they have. And this is a very good question, actually, that you asked. Sometimes, even though they have cash in their pocket, clients, like I told you, they don't need education, right?
Yeah.
Especially finance wise. Especially that caliber of clients, they already know what they're doing with their money. So I have seen clients who have the cash but still take a mortgage.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
So they just want to leverage their money.
Yeah.
And probably they are holding onto this cash for distressed deals in the market, or they're probably holding onto their cash for something else that they have in the horizon. So that caliber of people already has they're very well sound
Aware,
with
yeah.
what they want to do with their money. Like it doesn't need rocket science for them.
What would you say if I tell you that is it true or false that properties in Dubai fetch you more than gold?
I would say if you invest wisely, because right now with the kind of variety that is available in the market, you can go wrong if you don't do your homework.
Yeah.
And that's where your advisor is very, very important. Some people are buying property for the first time
Yes.
and they need guidance. Like you need to really understand like what they are trying to achieve. Are they looking to move in themselves? Is this their first home that they are buying for ROI, or they are going to flip it? Flipping is a very underrated term, by the way. But yeah, they're looking to flip it, or they are looking to sell on handover, or they're going to stay here in the apartment for 4 5 years, then move out and then rent it up. So these matrices will lead to different answers. So from the broker's perspective, like there are some questions that normally we don't ask the mortgage broker because see, our relationship is based on trust. Like
Yes,
we
of course.
transfer our clients to you guys,
Yes.
and then you discuss with the client also what their mortgage requirement is. What are the criterias that differentiate a customer, and how do you allocate them to different banks? Like this process is not clear.
It
Like-
would be length of service.
Okay.
If they're salaried, it would be what's their banking profile. If they're salaried or self-employed, that's one thing. If they're salaried, are they looking to move their salary with the bank?
Okay.
Or they're because when they move their salary with the bank, they're giving a salary commitment, right?
Correct. Okay.
So giving a salary commitment is something else, or they want a non-salary transfer mortgage,
Okay.
which is different, right?
Okay.
Of course, the bank, if they're getting your salary as a commitment, they'll offer you better rates.
Okay.
So yes,
What is the differential rate between a salary transfer loan pledge and non-salary loan pledge?
it would be 0.5.
0.5.
Yeah,
Okay.
0.5%.
Significant if you're looking at it from
Yes,
the term
a-
perspective.
And sometimes there is a difference in processing fee also.
Okay.
So
Have a different
yeah,
processing fee
it
for that.
becomes double sometimes if you're
Okay.
going with salary transfer versus non-salary transfer. So yes, That's the difference. And of course, then we look at the things we look at the client profile, and we see that this client would not probably want to bank with this certain kind of bank, or the client is an international client, so we suggest them international banks like HSBC or Standard Chartered.
Okay, where they're already
If
banking
yes,
with.
where they're
Right.
already banking, or it's easier for them to move funds around in different countries. So
Okay.
yes, those kind of things are there, which help us decide which bank we should go ahead with.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you also, now that I'm thinking of it, there are so many questions that are coming up. In regards to international buyers, right? Are there particular banks over here that give them financing options as well? And what are the
Yes,
documents that are required
the
and
documents
process
that are
also?
required is their average balance for last 6 months,
Okay, back home.
and at back home.
Okay.
Yes. So if you are an international buyer and you're looking to get mortgage, the client should start maintaining a good average balance. And banks do not consider fixed deposits as average balance. They'll consider the balance, the liquid balance that's in the
In
account.
the account that hits the account
Yes.
every month, right?
Yes. So, you know
Okay.
what happens with clients back in India or Pakistan is that they would like to keep them in the money in fixed deposits because they're getting good
Yeah, the money is
interest
not
over that.
the
Yes.
money is not having a transaction, right?
Yes, and they're getting a good interest over FDs.
Okay.
So usually that's where we face a problem, and that's where we guide the clients how to do a profiling.
Okay.
So mortgage is not just mortgage alone. It's profiling. It's so many other things. Then there is credit repair also. Sometimes we have clients who do not have a good credit score, so we help them repairing their credit
That's
scores to
very
be
important, right?
yes,
Correct.
so that
Because
it
of
enables
COVID, there are a lot of people who just messed up their credit up, and
definitely,
then you're looking
definitely.
to build your credit back again.
Yes.
That's good.
So those kind of things are also there when you come to a consultant. We'll take care of these things also, because banks are not gonna disburse any loan to you or any kind of banking facilities if your credit score is not good.
Correct. Okay.
So that's something there. And then profiling, because people are most of the people who are coming to us are looking to invest in multiple properties at the
Okay.
same time.
Correct.
So to help them build that portfolio, which you do exactly. So
Correct. Yeah.
we are into profiling a client to be able to make a good portfolio for themselves.
That's good. The other question I would like to ask is, see, I think you have a 50% cap on off-plan mortgages, right? When you're looking at international buyers, what's the cap that you guys are looking at?
International buyers are as of now not getting off-plan mortgage.
Okay. All right.
It's just for local buyers. So.
Okay. How about refinancing and how does that work? Like, so I have some clients who have bought their properties which were like 3 to 4 million,
Yes.
and currently they are valued 7.5 million. So, is there any banking facility that they can use to free up those funds in the equity that they have in the property?
So, as you said, if they have bought a property for 3 million, which was not mortgaged at that time, the money is sleeping, right?
Exactly.
It's 6
Yes.
million
Correct.
and
Yeah. It's just
sleeping.
sitting there. Yes.
And you're getting rent, and you're probably not investing the rent also somewhere because you're not getting the bigger chunk, right? So, you
Exactly.
need a bigger
Yes.
chunk to be able to invest
Correct.
somewhere.
True.
So, if you go to a consultant, we'll free up to 60% of the current market value so that you can invest it in the second property.
So 60% of the value of the property that
Yes.
is on the current valuation or the equity that has been paid up?
Current valuation.
Current valuation. Okay.
Yes.
So the banks also facilitate with that valuation?
Yes, they do, because
Okay.
banks will send their own valuator to value it, and more often
Perfect.
than not, you will get a good valuation according to the price. And we have good tools like DXP and Track.
Correct. Yes.
We know, and that's how we set the expectation for the client
Client as well,
also,
right?
that this is
Correct.
the money you're gonna get. So they can get up to 20% of equity also,
Okay.
and they can use it for renovation or
Oh, that's nice.
yes.
So this is applicable on all the handed over properties that are there, and you
All
get
the
20% again of the equity value or the valuated price?
The current market valuation.
Current market valuation.
Yes,
Okay. So
current.
basically, if you bought it for 3 million, currently it is selling at 7.
Yes.
That's the valuation of the property, and then he can get 20% of it for renovations.
Yes.
Okay.
20%,
That's great.
20%, 30%
20
depends on
to
the bank to
30%
bank.
depends
Yes.
on
Depends
on the
bank to
property.
bank. Certain banks have a different criteria
Okay.
of giving it, and then But yes, it's applicable. So you can get the mortgage like that. In fact, if you have a client who is doing a business banking also, we can get him up to 120% of equity release in his account. He's free to use the equity for whatever purpose he
So
wants.
it's irrespective if he's buying a property or not.
Yes, because this
Okay.
is business banking. It's for
Yeah.
self-employed clients.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah, so there
Only
are
for them.
there are banking products like this also,
Correct.
which are basically enabling SMEs to get money out of their
Properties
properties,
that are
and the interest rate is much lesser than
cheaper
what
there.
they would.
What's the
Yes,
interest rate like?
it would be somewhere around 3.99 plus 3-month IBOR, whereas the business loan that they will get is for 14%. So it makes a lot of
Very
difference.
big difference.
3.99 plus 3-month IBOR right now would be around 8%, or if you have a good profile, bank may give you a good discount on that also. So there's so many business banking products also.
Correct.
If you have invested in property, the way you get money out of it is not just one. You just don't have to sell it. There are other ways
Other
also.
ways out as well. And I
Yes.
think most of the clients they don't understand that.
They're
They
not
always
aware.
feel
Yeah.
ke I'll have to sell this to buy something else.
Exactly.
But this is what we're calling about portfolio growth.
Yes,
Is basically
exactly.
you equity release and then you invest in something else while that thing is rented, of course.
And
And
best
then you're
part about
generating money out
Dubai
of it.
is that your rent will always offset the EMI.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Yeah, more often than not.
Correct, yeah.
It will offset.
I think that's the biggest driving force for now coming to the initial people who are renting in the place who just landed here. I think
Exactly.
while we're talking about the EMI and the offset, the rents, now you see that in the current rental market, it's almost the same. So if you have funds,
Yes, of
you
course.
really need to make a move because I mean, you're
Yeah.
just wasting it on rent. Unless, of course, see, I there are people who are stuck to a location, right? Who are stuck to a location because of their premise and perimeter, right? But you can always offset this using some other property in another location. It's not like maybe
Of
sometimes
course.
if they want to buy something there, it's very expensive for them and the entry level is very
Of
difficult.
course.
So you can continue staying there, but you can offset this rent by buying something else away
Of course.
and getting your rental from there and basically that taking care of this.
Of course. And I think, the current generation that's coming needs to be educated about how to invest in big tickets item also, because I just see them being stuck to pleasures of the moment, like, big breakfast or holidays. They don't really invest into big ticket items, because I remember how our parents used to invest into gold and then properties and
Correct.
everything, but we are not probably doing it as much as they were
Honestly,
doing.
it's a good question as well because I'm seeing currently because I handle a lot of investors as well, right?
Yes.
I would say the contrary. Okay, there are a lot of big investors now who are investing in small tickets as well because then when they want to liquidate, they don't need to liquidate the whole chunk. You get my point? Like, of course, they have their investments in bigger chunks
Yes,
as
of
well. It's
course.
not like they don't have this and they are investing into smaller chunks. It's basically they have properties which are big ticket sizes 5 million, 10 million, 15 million. And then they're also buying primary that ticket size because they know what the growth potential is. But similarly, and on the parallel side as well, they are purchasing mid tier units as well because they know that if they want to liquidate, they don't need to liquidate the 5 million or the 6 million property. They have a handful
Yeah.
of these where they can liquidate and invest in other things, invest in other locations as well. I mean, I have some people who buy in Singapore at certain periods of time,
Yeah.
and then it goes vice versa. There are different pockets that they invest in also. So anytime they want to do that, they just liquidate those small chunks rather than liquidating a huge chunk and then allocating the money. I mean, there are different investors. There's some people who are approaching this, they call it like the 50 mark, okay, in their age gap, in the age group, right? So what pattern I do see with my investors there is basically they want to get rid of their small stuff and buy a
Bigger.
bigger chunk so that it's easier to manage, and they have understood this over a period of time that this is going to give them better returns. Okay, but this is a journey that they have followed. I mean, no matter what real estate agent sat with them 10 years back,
Yeah.
they are going to follow this, and this is this cycle that we want to prevent you from. We want to save these 10 years of your life, right?
Uh-huh.
We want to
Course.
tell you that, yeah, I have sat with multiple investors who have gone through this same experience, and now I'm sitting with you telling you this,
Of course.
that don't spend 10 years of your life collecting small, I wouldn't say small, or I would say like
Small ticket
smaller,
size.
not even smaller ticket size. Everybody invests as per their budget and as per their convenience at that time. But sooner or later, you'll understand that investing in smaller pockets, once you start reaching that age, you'll already have this thought process of accumulating them again under one single umbrella, right? But then what I see is people from 50 to 60 have started distributing this thing again. Like they have started going back into these small pockets because they know, okay, agar, if I want to buy something else somewhere, I don't need to sell this 6 million house or 7 million house. Let this keep accumulating things.
Or I think it's the human nature of experimenting.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they just keep experimenting. But it's
Yeah.
your job as an advisor is to just spot these trends, like what's
Yes.
happening, like and this comes with knowledge. Knowledge is power, I believe. And
Experience,
yes, knowledge
knowledge.
is power, and it always empowers you to take good decisions, right?
Of course.
If you don't study your product, if you don't study your market, you don't study your trends, you will get bashed by the people who are doing so in your industry, right? Yeah, I think that works the same in mortgage as well.
Yes, it
You need
does.
to learn and understand each and every
Of
product.
course.
Yeah,
In mortgage, every day is a new day.
correct,
Every day you come up with a new
correct,
case,
correct.
a new set of challenges,
Changing
and
dimensions, changing
it's yes. Every case is a new case. It's nothing that comes to us is smooth or has been done before. Every time we have a client, they come up with their own set of issues. So, Praveen, lastly, we would like to ask you, how was your experience working with Lending Tree, and how has Lending Tree helped you close more deals?
So yeah, I think, like I said, finance plays a very important role in any deal, right? Especially when you're dealing with secondary, right? So you need to have a connection, or you also need to have trust in the finance part of the deal. When you're giving your client to somebody else, right? There are a lot many things that can go wrong, right? So when you trust somebody, like, okay, I'm giving my client to Pragya and I know that she'll take care of it, because like you said, it's a process.
Yeah.
So somebody is managing this process with your client, right?
Yes, of course.
And you need to have absolute trust in the person, because I'm a Virgo. It's very difficult for me to delegate, firstly, and I want to be in the midst of it, and I want to understand what and I just see these scenarios, where it can go wrong. But luckily, I've been lucky. I think our first meeting that we had in the mall, after that, I think we have never looked back.
Yeah.
And I think the deals that we have closed also, they were like very quick,
Yeah.
right? And what I have realized is that I can like close my eyes and give my client to Pragya, because she's going to be taking care of the client for the next 15 to 20 days. She's going to get him the pre-approval.
Yes.
She's basically going to tell him which bank that he wants to work with. She's going to clearly mention to him what are the fees and everything associated with it, and at what stages she will require the bank's intervention into the deal, right? So from that perspective, I think Lending Tree is mostly like your third arm, like where
Yes,
you're
of
taking
course.
care of the client while your other two arms are taking care of the other side of the business, right? Because I know that once he's pre-approved, that's when I have to start looking for his
Of course.
properties. So they go hand in hand. And thank you so much. I mean,
Oh, you're most welcome.
you have been an excellent working professional to be with. You're very professional, by the way. And I would like to, thank you for
You're
being there for
welcome.
my clients as well.
Yes.
All right, and thank you for inviting me here again. And looking forward to more deals in the future. Not one more, many more to come.
It was amazing having you, Praveen.